Name's Mark Empting. I'm currently a candidate for the Clay County Sheriff race in the Moorhead area, in the Minnesota side of the river.
So what are the most important issues in your race?
Well, I think there's a couple important issues that we have over in Clay County. First and foremost is school safety, as we've seen recently here in the city of Dilworth. I think school safety is a big thing that we need to address. We have 2 school resource deputies right now, but they spend their time between 4 different sites. So it would be nice to have either a deputy or a local city officer in each of the schools full time. Whether it would be a Dilworth officer in Dilworth, Glendon officer in Glendon, Hawley officer in Hawley, and then we would cover the Ulen School District obviously with the deputy, but I think it's important to have somebody there full time. Another big thing that I see with our area is obviously the opioid issue, and that's obviously a hot button issue right now. I think in 2017, it was either 16 or 17, there's 401 overdose deaths in the state of Minnesota. That's too many. You know, we can't have that many overdose deaths, so we need to be sure that we're focusing on that. And a third issue I see is our drug and gang violence. We've seen recently that there's more and more of that in our area. And granted, some of it is over here on the Fargo side, but we're part of a metro area right now, and that river is not a barrier. And we have to make sure that we're taking steps as well on the Moorhead side, on the Minnesota side, to try and combat that as well. And one thing that just popped up today, I got through email, was I recently learned that one of our first responder organizations is going to be disbanding at the end of this year. So that's another issue that we have, is we have to make sure that we have enough people to cover these local first responder groups that we have, and make sure people are responding to our medical calls in the rural Clay County area. We're a long way away from a hospital, so it's important that we find people to volunteer for those jobs out there.
So you maybe touched on a few of these, but how would you address these issues that you just talked about?
As far as the school resource officer program, it's not just me that needs to make that decision. We have to get a few different people involved. We have to make sure that we're talking to our local police departments to see if they have anybody that's interested in that, or see if they want to take that program over. If not, then we'd have to work with our county commission and the school boards to see if we're going to be able to get the funding for that. Start looking for grants for that to see where we can get funds to be able to put a full-time school resource deputy in our schools for the safety of our children and our teachers and everybody that works in the school. We have to make sure that they're safe. As far as the opioid issue, I think we need to really sit down with some of our healthcare professionals and determine if we're doing some overprescribing, because generally what happens is you know, they'll get hooked on this medicine because of some type of injury that they had, or they're in pain. And are they overprescribing? Do they really need a 10-day? Will they need a 10-day prescription and they're getting 30? You know, we have to look at that to see if that's something that we can address, and then to see if we can do something with our healthcare professionals as far as starting to wean people off the medicine rather than just kind of trying to cut them cold turkey, because sometimes that doesn't work either. As far as our first responder organizations, that is just getting out there and seeing what we can do. See if we can adopt something with Clay County where, you know, we have the Clay County Sheriff's Posse, that they're a volunteer group that volunteer, whether it would be for our Steam Thrusters reunion or searching for people and things like that. See if we can adopt something like that in Clay County to have them as medical responders, or have like a quick response unit like Cass County has, because they seem to be very successful with that. So there's a few different things that we could look at with that.
What differentiates you from your opponent, and why should someone vote for you?
I think what differentiates me from my opponent is the fact that I've dedicated my entire adult life to public service. I joined the Dilworth Fire Department when I was 18 years old, and I've been with them for the past 27 years, working up the ranks from firefighter to assistant chief to where I'm currently the fire chief, where I prepare and present our budget to not only our city council but also our townships that we serve. In stressful situations, I manage the firefighters while they're at fire scenes, trainings, drills, and everything like that. Also, I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 16 years, and part of being on the Sheriff's Office, I've worked my way up through the ranks as being a patrol deputy to a sergeant to now currently a patrol lieutenant, where I manage and oversee the day-to-day operations of that division and deputies. I'm also an assistant emergency manager of the Sheriff's Office. I sit on some committees and boards in my position, such as I'm the president of the Clay County Fire Chiefs Association, I'm the president of the Clay County Peace Officers Association, I sit on the Red River Regional Dispatch User Committee, and I do sit on a statewide, or not a statewide user, but it's a regional user committee board for our radio system.